If you're sending more violation letters and collecting more fines, the problem may be vague rules, not more inconsiderate neighbors. Few residents wake up jonesing to fight with their neighbors. Fewer property managers want to mediate owner disputes. Even fewer board members like to send violation letters and threaten fines. Yet enforcement becomes the default tool. Noise complaints, parking disputes, holiday package congestion, security coverage questions. An all-resident reminder is distributed. Emails fly back and forth. Tension builds. When rules blur, people interpret them differently. Different interpretations lead to inconsistent enforcement. Inconsistent enforcement raises the temperature, and higher temperature fuels escalation. The pressure to act grows. Structure doesn't eliminate enforcement. Structure makes enforcement predictable. We once faced a different kind of enforcement question. After spending $170,000 clearing clogged condensate drain risers for individual HVAC units, we passed a resolution requiring twice yearly preventive maintenance. The cost was public knowledge. HVAC technicians had entered every home. Owners understood the scale of the problem. Our rule was specific. The preventive maintenance had to meet defined criteria, including installing a biobar to reduce scale in the shared risers. We knew compliance would lag, so we passed a second resolution, a fine of $50 per day past the deadline, capped at $1,000. We communicated all criteria, including the fine and the rationale, in writing, in multiple channels and multiple times. The fee wasn't intended for revenue. It was an incentive for compliance. The maintenance window lasted roughly 8 weeks. Property management notified owners regularly. Reminders went out weekly starting more than 3 weeks before the deadline. As the deadline approached, the management office called individual owners, and we coordinated with the most commonly used HVAC vendors. Our preferred vendors booked up, meaning some units couldn't be serviced before the deadline. Owners understandably called management to ask for an extension, so we worked with them. Proof of appointment and completion meant no fee. The only owners charged were those who ignored repeated notices. After the first violation cycle, we clarified the policy and its corresponding rule. As long as appointments were scheduled by the deadline, management was informed, and preventive maintenance was completed, the fee would be waived. There was noise during the first and second cycles. By the third preventive maintenance cycle, roughly a year and a half later, compliance was routine. The difference was clarity, not severity. Not every rule is that clean. Take doormats. Many owners placed welcome mats outside their doors. There was a rule prohibiting them because they could become tripping hazards during emergencies. The rule existed, but it was unevenly enforced. We never levied fines. No one wanted to become the doormat police. The fire department cited them during annual inspections, but not as a code violation, meaning there was no direct fine tied to noncompliance. With over 450 units across 5 buildings, universal enforcement would have consumed management bandwidth. So enforcement became contextual. Areas near emergency exits were addressed more frequently. Low traffic corridors weren't policed aggressively. If an owner complained about a tripping hazard, management responded. That was a pragmatic decision based on risk and resource allocation. Without explanation, however, pragmatism can look like favoritism. When people don't feel heard, they assume enforcement is arbitrary. When decisions are explained, even inconsistent enforcement becomes understandable. Not liked necessarily, but understandable. We applied similar logic when strollers and other personal items were left in hallways. When they approached genuine life safety concerns, violation letters and fines were issued. Otherwise, we acknowledged practical realities. Many apartment entries are small. Strollers take up space. Wet boots track water indoors. It was imperfect, but our threshold was risk. And while risk can be predicted, risk can't always be defined precisely in advance. When rules are specific, documented, and consistently applied, there's less to enforce. When standards are vague or thresholds are unclear, enforcement feels personal. And when enforcement feels personal, credibility takes a hit. That loss of credibility doesn't just create tension, it creates risk. That, and how to remain credible, is where we're headed next.